why is he putting all the stuff open source? What is the point? Like, is this so that people, I'm not a person that understands developers at all. Like, I have a lot of them that work for me, and every time I talk to them, I don't really know, I don't understand how their brains work generally, but like, is it so that people can make suggestions on your code to improve it? And it's just like a community sourced kind of like, we can all make this better kind of thing.
I thought when it was open source, like that allowed people to make like add-ons and apps and stuff. Like, I don't know enough about that. So are you asking about like, why is he making the code open?
Yeah. Why is he doing this?
Because so people can review it. Cause like, I think it's just a trust thing. I think it's all public goodwill.
Let me Google this. Why is it probably is that.
Because to me, I think there's a lot. I mean, there's definitely people that don't like him, but I think that there's so much distrust right now. And Twitter has like his big thing he's been talking about is like free speech. And, like to me, that's the interesting thing about Twitter compared to other social media.
It's a trust thing. You're right.
Yeah. So is that what they said? He
said, even if you don't agree with something, you'll know why it's there and that you're not being secretly manipulated. The analog we aspire we aspire to is a great example of Linux as an open source operating system. See, this is what I don't know what the hell that means. One can, in theory, discover many exploits for Linux. What happens is the community identifies and fixes those exploits. So it actually kind of sounds like a little bit of both, where he's saying it's a trust thing and the community can look at this stuff and fix what's wrong with the code.
Well, so the people that aren't being paid and are just passionate about it, like they're going to be some of the most creative people. So
yeah.
And they've gone from didn't they go from 8,000 employees down to 1,500, under 1,500 or something. So maybe that helps with that.
Yeah.
Too. I think it's trusting.
Yeah, I think that's smart though, because nobody trusted Twitter. So if you're going to come in
and it's the only social media platform that is like a marketplace of ideas. It's the water cooler. It's like the modern day water cooler. And it's not like that. That's not what TikTok is. That's not what Instagram is. That's not what YouTube is. Like, that's not what those things are.
Yeah.
YouTube is education. TikTok is entertainment, and Instagram's, ooh, look at me.
Yeah. I can't say that he's doing a bad job. Everybody is so funny, man. It's like when he bought that, everybody was just like, oh, this is going to go. It's just crazy how many people worked at that company.
He just hired a CEO too. Did you see that?
Oh, he did. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. But how, God, man, you talk about like a bloated company, all these companies, it gets so huge. It's just such a weird thing. It's like, you can fire so many people and then the thing still works well.
Well, one of the ladies that got fired, that was kind of like a kind of kickstarted all this, was like, she was doing these day in the life videos, and it was like, I showed up to work, I'm getting my latte, I'm playing ping pong in the office, what a great life, sitting out here on the patio. And it was like,
I take that
awesome
job.
You had a whole day of doing nothing.
I remember she had one meeting. She's like, go to my meeting today, and then I'm done. It's like, wow. She can pay a high salary too.
Yeah.
All that overhead. It's so crazy. But I guess that's just how these tech companies roll. Just get bloated to hell. But
but it makes sense. Yeah. Well, I think the impressive thing to me is that I'm not as big of a user, so I haven't noticed a huge difference, but my understanding is there's been very little hiccups or issues. So you take all these people out and it's still running smoothly. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish this would have been a good playbook for Facebook to do, a couple of years ago when Facebook, before the Meta thing, I actually think was really smart, because a lot of the heat came off of Facebook, and now it's, they just kind of did a little magic trick, and they were like, oh, it's Meta now. But that would have been smart for them to just be like, we're just going to show you exactly what's going on behind the curtain, and here's our source code, and here's what's going on. Maybe they didn't want anybody to see that, though. You never know.
I think Elon's in a very interesting position there doing that. Right.
Yeah.
I don't think that Zuckerberg could do that. I don't think that these other companies, it's easy for Musk to come in and say oh, hey, this isn't me. Right. Check it out. Let's look at all the things, and then we're going to change it. Cause even this, we look at this algorithm, they just released it, guys, that might not be the algorithm 6 months from now. They're going to keep making changes, and they're going to prioritize different things. It's interesting right now. It's useful information, but But I don't think that you can do that. I don't think you can. I mean, think about everything that we've like learned from the Twitter files. You've learned things about other platforms, including Facebook, from the Twitter files. So
yeah, the FBI stuff's crazy.
Yeah. So if that stuff's going on, then like he can't do that and keep his company, and the government won't want him to.